Don't be afraid. Lock the doors. Turn out the lights and climb into bed. It's time for Hillbilly Dead Time Stories.
Usually when we mention spirits, we are referring to that of the ghostly variety. But what happens when you're going to discuss a haunted pub? The word spirits now take on a double meaning. Throw in the fact that the before-mentioned pub has been around for centuries and that there used to be hangings inside the building, and you are undoubtedly in for some paranormal activity. Oh, and the land that the pub is built on just happens to be the base of a 1,600-foot tall peak that legend says was split in half by a terrible, violent storm at the exact moment of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. If you enjoy the thought of having a drink in a haunted pub and then retiring to your room with another type of spirit, then this episode is specifically for you. Tonight you will learn about the oldest pub in Wales, the Skirrid Mountain Inn. The Skirrid Mountain Inn lies at the base of Skirrid Mountain. The mountain has seen over 1,000 years of Welsh history, including wars, conflicts between religious powers, and it's seen small villages become cities. The Skirrid Mountain Inn has also seen its share of history. Once upon a time, back in 1100, there sat a popular pub that was located off the beaten path in a small village, Llanfihangel. The Skirrid Mountain Inn was known to be a rallying point for local supporters in the Welsh revolt against the rule of Henry IV in the 15th century, and was also used as a courtroom where locals would be punished to death for crimes like sheep stealing. In the stairwell, 182 people were executed by hanging. With such a long and dark history, the inn is not only one of the oldest pubs in Great Britain, it's one of the most haunted. The first written existence of the pub goes back to 1104, but the owners believe that the building is actually much older than that. Inside the inn, visitors are greeted by brick fireplaces and large oak beams. The beam over the staircase is part of the dark history. The inn has always been a public house, and because of its remoteness, it was oftentimes used as a courtroom and even a gallows between the 12th and 17th centuries. Halfway up the stairs is a small room that used to hold the prisoners overnight before their hanging the next morning. Imagine the torture of listening to all the fun and liveliness of the pub just below you, knowing that the following morning you would walk down just a few steps to your death. Near the bottom of the staircase, visitors can see a notch on the beam worn away from the hangman's rope. The feet of the unlucky victims would not have been more than a foot from the last step, so no quick death from a snapped neck. Those found guilty slowly choked and suffocated to death. The last hanging was at the end of the 17th century for sheep stealing, ironically the same as the very first hanging. In the late 18th and 19th century, the Price family owned and operated the Skirrid. Most of the ghosts in the Skirrid are attributed to the Price family. Maybe the most famous is landlady Fanny Price. She died in the smallest bedroom from consumption in the early 1800s. Her, along with other members of the Price family, are buried in a churchyard just a short distance from the pub. She is known to walk the pub at nighttime. Another regularly seen spirit is Henry Price. It is not known if Henry is Fanny's husband or father. Henry likes to bang on the chimney in the loft area or pretend to be soldiers marching up and down the cobblestones outside. They say that you can literally hear the sound of horse hooves pounding the street. David Hardy and Maria Appleton purchased the Skirrid Inn in 2002. They were unaware of its haunted history. That changed when they saw a few interviews on BBC near Halloween, one of which was with former landlady Heather Grant. She told of several spooky occurrences. Daryl Hardy said that he saw the property, fell in love with it, and they were moving in 4 weeks later. Soon after moving in, he started noticing some strange occurrences himself. They had a hard time keeping the beer glasses in the bar. They would completely stock the shelf, but somehow glasses would slide off and break. They would lose up to 15 glasses a week. Breaking glasses weren't the only odd happenings at the pub. Several witnesses one evening saw money moving by an unseen force. A 10-pound note traveled the length of the bar. Now it's customary to use a 20-pound note by the first round, and then have your change set in front of you, usually a 10-pound note and some coins on top. That was the case here. At least $3.50 in coins were on top of the 10-pound note. It traveled 2 feet past the bar, dropped to the ground in front of 8 customers. On another occasion, Hardy's manager spent the night at the inn with her boyfriend. Her boyfriend had false teeth, which he took out and placed on the nightstand beside him. The next morning, they were on the other side of the room, snapped in half. If you're a fan of the paranormal, the Skirrid Mountain Inn definitely has some stories that you can sink your teeth into.
Hush, little baby, don't say a word. Or daddy has to fight off a zombie herd. And once that zombie herd is dead, daddy has to hack off the devil's head. And if that devil's head gets hacked, daddy has to hunt down a werewolf pack. And when that werewolf pack goes down, daddy has to slaughter an evil clown. And after the evil clown is killed, daddy has to take on a vampire